All right, good morning. Welcome back to WFMY Plus, bringing you another weather update on this Wednesday as we await some snow in the Piedmont. I want to show you what we have going on across the Carolinas right now. In fact, there's even been a few snow flurries and some snow and sleet already falling over in the Raleigh area and around the Triangle this morning. If you look at our camera here, looking out over RDU, you can make out a couple of flakes that are falling. See, there's just a couple falling in the sky right now. So the air is getting moistened up. And one thing we've been mentioning the last 48 hours, really, last 2 days, has been the concern about dry air really limiting what we could see from this system, potentially limiting almost all of it. And we're seeing that dry air really cut in to what we could potentially see here in the Piedmont. Meanwhile, we go back to the west, up in the North Carolina mountains. It's been snowing, of course, in the high country. Some nice flakes falling in downtown Boone. Of course, been snowing for the last couple of hours, just coating the roofs and the tops of buildings there, really not piling up on the streets too much. It's really been on and off over the last couple of hours. And that's how I think it's going to go for us this afternoon. While we'll get a couple of snow showers, it'll shut off, it'll come back, so on and so forth through the early evening hours. Show you what we got going on radar right now. You'll see snow on the radar, but because we have such dry air in place, our atmosphere is really kind of acting like a sponge, right? It doesn't automatically squeeze water out when you pour water onto it. It has to soak up a little bit before the water runs out. Our moisture works, our atmosphere works in the same way. We got to moisten it up before any of that can ever actually make it down to the ground where we are at. So while it may be snowing up above our heads, it's evaporating before it's reaching us. And again, you can really see the radar presentation here and the dry air eating into this, like we've been talking about for the last couple of days. Watch as we put this in motion over the last few hours, how once this system comes across our mountains, our snow really starts to dry out and break apart. That's one of the big fears when our system comes from the west rather than coming from the south. But you'll also notice as our area of low pressure starts to slide a bit more offshore, it's starting to wrap in some moisture off of the Atlantic. That's why I think folks in Raleigh and eastern North Carolina are starting to see some of that fall from the sky. It could be filling in a little bit for us as well. You'll notice some showers forming to our south, some snow showers that are moving to the north, likely in our southern Piedmont over the next little while as well. The other big factor is all of this rain that you see down along the Gulf Coast and those heavier thunderstorms all morning long really could be robbing us of some very plentiful, beneficial moisture to help aid in more snow production. So dry air, bottom line, has been the big concern, is still the big concern, and is really the big factor that's eating into some of our snow as we speak. You may be looking outside wondering why it hasn't started snowing yet, and I do think we'll see a little bit as we go into the afternoon. Here's how the setup works. A couple of scattered snow showers again for the afternoon. I think it's going to be hard to get up into that 1 to 2 inch range that we have on the forecast, so I'd say an inch or less is looking a little more likely at this point for our area. Still keep in mind, it doesn't take a lot for those roads to get slick, especially with temperatures at and below freezing for most of us. For us, any snow is shutting off as we go into the late evening hours. It'll be dry mostly in the overnight period and into very early tomorrow morning. The one thing that we're watching is the potential as another little piece of energy swings through on the back edge of this system to bring us another quick burst of snow tomorrow morning, mainly between sunrise and lunchtime. And if there's enough, it could put down a quick coating. And again, keep in mind, there could still be slick spots around up through about lunchtime tomorrow. After that, we get some sunshine back heading into tomorrow afternoon. And even though temperatures are barely going to come up above freezing for just a little while in the afternoon, I think that sunshine will help us melt things away, especially on the major roadways. Now, keep in mind, if there's anything on side streets or anything that's under shade, that's going to stay ice as we go into Friday morning. Temperatures will be back in the teens to start Friday morning. So anything that's out there left on the roads Thursday or on side roads will still remain into Friday morning. Here's what the radar looks like as we go into the afternoon. Again, scattered snow showers. I do expect it to fill in a little bit, but like I said, I think it's really going to be hard to get a whole lot going today. We're really in kind of an odd worst case placement with this system. Not a lot of moisture from the Triad down to Charlotte, a little bit more up in the west, and a lot more down to the east, just the way that our system is moving. Think about it over time, how you've heard maybe your parents, maybe your grandparents say, our big ones in the Piedmont come from the south. Well, usually that's true. Part of the reason for that is if it's moving from the south, it's closer to a moisture source along the Gulf and can pick up more moisture. So that's kind of one thing that we're dealing with, sort of the limiting factor for today. Snow, of course, is going to be our main concern across the Piedmont, whatever falls. Not really so much worried about ice. Our main impact, I think, if anything is falling from the sky onto the roads, will be the slick roads that remain, and I'm not concerned about power outages with this system as well. Our forecast in the 1 to 2 inch range for the Piedmont, I'm really thinking more like 1 inch or less, the way things are shaking up right now. I still, though, think northeastern North Carolina and these folks up above the triangle are likely going to reach into that few inches category, especially as our system moves off the coast. It's able to get more moisture going. Those folks are going to see more snow than we do here in the Piedmont. Just how this system is going to shake out in the way that it's set up. We've been talking about that for the last couple of days, too. One thing you've probably heard us mention over the last couple of days as well is the big boom or bust potential that this system has. What does that mean? Here's what that means. Our forecast has been in that 1 to 2 inch range, at least pretty consistently. But there was the opportunity that this thing keeps a little extra moisture around, and we could have made it into the 2 to 4 inch range. I don't really foresee that as a possibility much at this point anymore. I still think we're on go for around an inch. And I think that would be about it, the way things are shaking out this morning. We also talked about the big potential that this system could bust, meaning we get nothing at all. And we're sort of trending that way. Although I think some snow is going to fall, I don't think we're going to get much up into the 1 to 2 inch range. I'd say an inch or below the way that radar trends are going. It's just that kind of system. We've been talking about that. We've been preparing you for that, of course, but we do have to think about the potential if something does fall, what it may cause in terms of travel. So dry air has really been the big deciding factor with this system, and it'll continue to be so for our area as we go into this evening. Wanted to put that in full transparency for you so that you can see what we've been looking at and what we've been watching over the last couple of days. A lot of folks have been asking me, hey, can't you just up the snow totals a little bit? Well, no, I can't. I can take it up with the big man upstairs, but I can't up the snow totals for that dry air reason and for that concern that we have. And we haven't been able to nail it down any tighter than that for that reason. Really tough one to forecast. Clouds are around for the rest of the day. Any snow that starts to fall likely starts to drop our temperatures a little bit back into the upper 20s as we go into the afternoon and into the evening. Again, doesn't take much. Anything that falls is going to make for slick roads, and that will remain into tonight, even as our snow is done. Slick spots will continue if there's any snow on the roads into early tomorrow morning. Again, we'll still watch for another quick burst of snow to end things tomorrow, mostly between sunrise and noon. That may put down a quick coating if it's enough out there. And of course, that slick concern would remain into the early afternoon. Now, I do think sunshine comes out tomorrow. We're barely up above freezing in the afternoon, and the wind picks up. So the sun and wind will help us dry up anything that may be on the roads. If there's anything left, though, that's where we had the freeze concern again as we go into tomorrow evening, into tomorrow night, and of course into Friday as well. Anything that's shaded, anything that gets water or ice on it, is still going to remain for a couple of days. All right, news to weather impact alerts in effect for today and into the first half of your Thursday for that main reason that there could be a couple of slick spots on the roads. All right, so if anything falls, I'd say be extra careful in the way that you travel tomorrow morning, or tomorrow evening and tomorrow morning, really. The evening commute could be a mess if there's anything on the roads. Tomorrow morning, if there's anything, if you're able to, maybe play it safe, work from home if you have that luxury. But travel issues are the main concern with this system that we have had and that we still have if anything falls. All right, let's jump into your 7-day forecast. Now, once this moves out of the way, we go into Thursday afternoon, we start some clearing. Again, be mindful. If anything falls, there's still a few slick spots Friday morning, but Friday really turns out to be a pretty good day of weather to finish the work week off, right? Our sunshine is back. We are cold. Temperatures warm up to around 40 in the afternoon. Heading into the weekend, we do start to get a little better. I do think it's much better for outdoor plans. You can bank on a dry weekend for sure, partly cloudy for Saturday and for Sunday. Saturday's still chilly in the upper 40s. Sunday is pleasantly cool for February, but believe it or not, still a little below average at 52. Our average high right now, if you're keeping up, is 54. The average low is 33. Now, once we get into next week, here's what we've got our sights set on. We go from 15 Friday morning to 60 by Tuesday afternoon. And not just me, but I also know a lot of folks around the Piedmont are ready to move on from winter, ready to head into spring. It will feel much better as we go into early next week. However, it is still winter and spring is still about a month away. So we still have opportunity for more winter on the way. I do think our weather is going to be drier and a bit more mild as we go into next week and lingering on to in the foreseeable future. All right, so stay with us today. We'll have more updates as we work our way through our Wednesday. Keeping an eye out for a few scattered snow showers in the afternoon, but I do think it's going to be hard to get into that 1 to 2 inch range. I'd say an inch or less is the way we're trending right now across the Piedmont. We'll have another update on for you coming up at noon on WFMY News 2 at noon. We'll have that on air for you, and another live update on WFMY Plus coming up at 1 o'clock.